This is Tim Mordar with the Beat, chatting with the voice cast of Max and Midnights. How you guys doing?
Woo!
Good. How are
Really
you
good.
doing?
How are
Good
you?
to see. It's funny. So, as a journalist, I love doing research. Besides watching the episodes, I actually decided to read the original source material. They're actually really fun, delightful middle grade books, and thankfully not these huge, big tomes like something like Game of Thrones. So, I'd love to know, even though the show is its own thing, if any of you kind of looked at the books at any point.
Yeah, I have I got the first one by myself and the other ones were actually a gift from my mom who was really excited about everything. And I love them. Yeah, they reminded me a lot of the kind of books that I loved in middle school and yeah, they're yeah.
I haven't purchased any personally, but I did look it up and I know it was a series of like middle grade books, as well as by the same I think author who did Big Nate, which was also a Nickelodeon show. Um, so I knew a little bit about like the history of where the books came from.
I have to do a better job. I need to get the books. And I know I would love it. I love the show so much. I love, I like children's books too. And is it like teeny or is it like I don't know what age range. I feel like they're cool though.
YA, I'd probably say middle grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, middle grade.
Oh, me. I bought a book, but then I got it shipped to the wrong house, and so I haven't read it because I haven't gotten it yet. But I
On the
really
way.
want to. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
That's hilarious. Earlier this year, I had the chance to host a panel about voice directing at a convention, and Christy Reed, she was incredibly kind enough to be on it. It was just a blast getting to hear from one of the best in the business. So I know, funny enough, Zeno and Melissa, I know your recent Nickelodeon projects, you worked with her.
Mhm.
So I'd love to know whether you've worked with her before or not. The experience having Christy as a director on Max and the Midnights.
I've worked with her, yeah, on Rock, Paper, Scissors, and then in the past on a cartoon called OKKO and a few others, but she's so clear. She makes it so fun. And even her own voice is very charming and fun. And she just directs so good and makes it nice and clear and exactly what, I don't know. She just makes it so easy and fun. And she's really, really great. Christy rocks. Yeah.
Agreed. I worked with her before Max on another Nickelodeon show called Transformers Earthspark. And on Earthspark, we have like some younger like youth actors, some kid actors on there. So it's always fascinating because the tone between the two different shows are so different. Like Transformers Earthspark's sort of this like a slight is like a little bit more like action or like action adventure oriented. It like kind of grounds itself a little bit more. But she also has to like direct kids. So like hearing how she directs kids for like when we go to Max of the Midnights, and a lot of us are primarily like adults, like the differences between the directing styles there. But she still keeps it the same amount of fun. I don't necessarily see it as too big of a difference how she talks between us. And I think that's like why the performances sound so good. And I feel like she recently won a couple Emmys, right? Did she not win an Emmy for Annie? She won some. She won.
Yeah, she's definitely an Emmy winner.
Entire world, I think, right?
Yeah. But yeah, she's great. I really like working with her. She's able to like really hone in on really key specific moments, and I like that as an actor, as well as like trying to keep it loose and trying to keep it fun.
Yeah, I really, really like Christy. I just like because Christy has a really great way of like, yes, like all the direction stuff, specific, and she's really well prepared and stuff, which is amazing, and also really good at like communicating between the team and the actor and kind of translating what she needs to for them in the different languages that those different types of people speak. And then also the first time I ever recorded for Max and the Midnights, it was still remote and I was at home and I was in my like fabric booth and it was like super hot. It was like 80 degrees outside, which means it was like 95 degrees in my booth. And at the end of the session, I was just sweating, dripping sweat everywhere. And she was like, you can come into studio like if you need to. And I was like, yeah, I really need to. And so I loved Christy since then and still do. And so that is my Christy spiel.
And very, very similar sentiment for me, like to everyone. It's, I like Christy is one of the most welcoming and kind and patient people I've ever worked with. And they, it sounds like it's dumb to be like, they're so good at their job, but they're so good at her job. It's incredible. It's amazing. And the way that she can get things done so quickly and efficiently is wild to me. Even if I don't feel like I know exactly what I'm doing, she will get it out of me in like before I realize it's even happening sometimes. Yeah, she's like just
Love
that's
you,
the best.
Christy. If you ever come across this interview, snap.
Yeah.
We all love you.
Hopefully, yes. It's funny you just talked about directing kids. Listen, you'll appreciate this. One of my favorite shows, animated shows, or just shows right now, is Primos from Disney. I'm always texting my friend Myrna Velasco, "Oh, you rock on this, you and you, Melissa, and everyone just killing it. It just makes me so joyful, positive energy. It basically makes me feel like a kid again. And having watched Max and the Midnights, I get the same sentiment. So I'd love to know, for you as actors, does working on the show feed your inner children?
Yeah. Big time. I sometimes, some days you have a little grumpy mood. Sometimes I do. And every single time I go into the voiceover booth, immediately change into just like joy. And I feel so blessed that I get to do this and makes me, the little kid Melissa just comes alive every single time with cartoons. It's so amazing. Yeah, that's how I feel. It's the best.
I think there's this like charm to Max of the Midnights because it sort of blends sort of these like really like fantastical elements with like modern musical numbers. And at the end of the day, it's literally just like a band of kids doing their best. And, going back to the previous point about like Christy as a director, there's always like times where she'll allow us all to just like say a thing. Like we'll be 2 takes in, and then on the third take, like Caleb will throw in something, and then I'll throw in something, and she'll be like, "Let's grab that," Or like Blue will improvise something, and then like I'll improvise something off of Blue's improvisation, and it sort of like kind of builds this sort of like this camaraderie with all the characters, and in that play and in that fun, especially playing a kid, is where I get to feel like a kid again, in that world.
I love this show. Most of the people in this call already know that my inner child is sometimes more of an outer child in general. But this show just lets me like I don't know. This show is the first show that I've had like a bunch of ensemble records for, and so getting to just play with the rest of the cast and bounce off of each other, sometimes literally because the characters like running into each other and making strange sounds. Just getting to kind of go wild and play in a world that isn't the world that I live in now, because I don't get to go and like fight crazy stuff or run from things or scream while running from things and then scream again. But in this show, I can do that, and so it's been a joy and a pleasure and another synonym for those things. Like, it's just been super fun.
Yeah, this from the get-go, like I think 4 years ago now, like
Wow.
when
Real,
all this
right?
started. Yeah, like the first time I talked to David about all this was like about 4 years ago. Something in me wanted this so badly, and it's because of how similar I feel to Max, like at that age, is crazy to me. And the fact that I've been getting to do this and play her and have this job and work with these incredible people throughout all of this, it's kind of given like a new, I don't know, like light to my childhood that like maybe didn't
Mm,
have all the brightest times when I was that
mm,
young, but
mm,
now it feels like getting to relive it in a way that is
yes.
like glorifying all of the daydreams that I had, which were
Mm.
very similar to a lot of the stories that are happening in these books. Um, so I feel very, very, very blessed to go to work and get to do this.
On that note, it's been an amazing and delightful pleasure chatting with you all. I've seen the first 2 episodes available online. I can't wait to see the rest of the season.